so you don't get those potholes, basically. If you drive around Solivita, in most areas you will not see potholes. You'll see a lot of cracks because it's basically breaking and separating so it can breathe. If we kept it just as one basically giant sheet, like the asphalt that's going around Solivita right now, we would have to, with our reserve study, we would not be able to afford it because all the asphalt that's within Solivita, you'd have to do overlayments. We would have to grind it down, redo it. That's the reason why Tony and the board and AV Homes went with the Portland asphalt. It's a better way airports use it, okay? On runways of airports, they use the Portland asphalt. If you think, I've asked everybody to go online and look at Portland asphalt. That's what it's designed to do, is to crack and expand, to let it breathe. And then we put the seal coat on it to keep the underlayment from making potholes. So that's the reason why it is. That's the reason why it looks the way it does.
Okay, I also have another issue about people speeding in here. I followed one of Flora Loan's trucks the other day going 45 and a 25. And I see them going through stop signs. The stop signs aren't there for decorations.
And I appreciate that. What we've asked people in the past is if you can identify the vehicle, please let myself, Joe Murphy, the security know what's going on so we can rectify the situation. If we don't know about it, they have been, somebody did spot a Flora previously vehicle speeding. We relayed it, they've addressed it. What we know, we can address and resolve.
Who pays for the gas for the patrol cars that drive around here?
It's the sheriff's department on the patrol. There is a vehicle fee associated with an hourly rate that we pay.
Well, I see them up by the post office. I see them up by Walmart. I see them all over, except for.
And again, we are logging them in and out. So if they leave the site, we're not paying for it.
Well, if we're paying for the gas, then we're paying for it.
It's on an hourly basis, sir. If they leave the site and we're not paying for them during that time frame, we're not paying the vehicle charge either.
I just have issues that I think the concerned residents here have, but nobody else is speaking up.
Are you talking about the CAP program?
I'm talking about the people that ride around in the patrol cars.
Okay.
Why are they driving up to the post office, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS on our gas?
Okay. Like I said, there's two patrols that are in here, and I just want to clarify. There's one of the citizens on patrol. That's our CAPS program. That's one that's in the sheriff car that drives around.
I understand
That's
the
that
sheriff,
program, and
I'm
that's
not talking about the sheriff. I'm talking about
the security one that we have. That contract is through Allied Universal. Okay.
No, the ones that park over here, the patrol cars.
That's Allied Universal, sir. I'm explaining to you. Allied Universal. In that contract, we pay them. Okay. Those vehicles are Allied Universals. They're not Solivitas, okay? That's that security. They own those vehicles. Within the contract, it's a price that we pay basically for vehicle and gas, and it's all in one, okay? So you're not paying their gas. It's all in that security contract. And I'll sit down with you and show you that contract, but it's all together. So I don't care if they drive to wherever, they're paying on their dime, okay? We want them in here, but when they take breaks or lunch breaks or they need to do things, that's their vehicle. It's not Solivita. The liability is on Allied Universal, not Solivita. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, another thing, what are you going to do about the speeding, people speeding in here? I had a guy tailgating me yesterday when my wife and I were going to church, and he's tailgating me. He's like waving his arms behind me because I'm doing speed limit. He wants to go faster.
It's an ongoing issue that we are doing our best to control. Obviously, we don't have a police force to sit out there. There has been talk with the advisory committee of actually going out and purchasing some speed identification photo equipment in order to start implementing a better safeguard and start sending out fines. It's all something we are considering, but we don't have a police force that can sit there and monitor every road in the community and hand out tickets as they go by. Our sheriff's patrol is authorized that if they see people running stop signs, they see people speeding, to issue them tickets.
Well, maybe they say when the sheriff comes in, anybody doing over 5 miles an hour over speed limit should get a ticket.
And again, it's something that's under consideration, how far you want to take this. And we have had many discussions with the advisory committee as to how far to take this. And we will continue to have those discussions.
Okay, I work nights, 3 nights a week, and a lot of times I come home like 2, 3 in the morning, and I notice the gates on Dell Tower are wide open, the metal gates.
The metal.
Yes, they are open. They were open for 1 week straight on Dell Tower. The ones coming off of Marigold.
I know where you're talking about, and I know we had an issue, but I believe that's been resolved, that we did get people out as quickly and as timely as we can to repair the situation. And if we're aware of it, we will actually position attendants there during the situation while we're trying to get it resolved.
Well, maybe you supervisors should ride around the place once in a while and check out what's going on in here, instead of sitting behind your desk all the time.
Thank you.
That would kind of make more sense, then you would know what's going on in our community.
Okay.
Good morning, gentlemen. John Lightwine, Prima Drive. I have one question. And are you going to address the security issue here with Joe Murphy? I know that you approved the budget for license plate recognition, am I correct?
Yes.
Thank you. The point that I'm making is, when is this going to be implemented? What is the timetable for this to come in? Because what I understand, there's been a rash of certain robberies and items disappearing from the community, referring to packages. Now I know some of the UPS people are putting it behind certain pieces of furniture at the front door. The other thing is, and shame on people that leave their doors unlocked at night, but however, there's been a certain amount of cars been rifled. Would you be addressing that issue, Gary?
The license plate recognition equipment is due to ship on the 16th of December. We will be installing it January and February, along with a upgraded membership program, as well as an upgraded access program that is all taking place. Some of that is actually already started. As it relates to the items missing and the rash of burglaries recently, we checked with, we verified with the sheriff's office today. There were 4 reports of things being taken out of cars. Of the golf carts that were taken, it is the assumption at this point, we are still waiting for them to conclude their investigation, but it is the assumption at this point that those items were a product of joyriding within the community, and we're still trying to locate those. But yes, the programs that the board has approved as it relates to VertiLink, the secure upgrade, and the license plate recognition have actually already started and are going forward. The license plate recognition equipment will probably start being installed right after the first of the year.
Okay, my second question is, and I've noticed this at a number of gates, usually you have one person in the gate. Sometimes that person is tied up checking on vendors coming in for the required business they have within the community. I have seen people coming through the side, either in Venezia or the main gate. Is it possible to put 2 people there to keep a specific eye for people coming from the outside in? I don't know if there's additional cost, obviously there would be, but the point is, because of the rash of certain situations that have occurred, this has been a pretty safe community with, on and off little problems. All of a sudden, as I know, and I grew up on the Lower East Side of New York City, when word gets around that something's easy, people are going to come in droves like flies on poop. So the point I'm getting at is, what is some of the plans that you're going to do, maybe to alleviate the situation, whether that's addressed by Joe Murphy, Craig, or yourself, or the board? I think that's very important to give people a sense of comfort that they are okay and that there's not going to be anything that's going to disappear from either their car, their golf cart, etc.
Predominantly, again, the license plate recognition is the major step. We are getting ready to rebid the security contract, and everything you've suggested will be produced as a line item as to whether we want to add over a certain course of time. If we maybe go out and identify when those excessive lines that tie up the individual, instead of paying for somebody to sit there 24/7, maybe it's a 4-hour time frame, maybe it's an 8-hour time frame, but they'll be itemized in the new bids that we will be collecting.
Okay, then my last question, and addressing it to Joe Murphy, who knows me well. The point being is, maybe the sheriff's department, even though they are required to check on stop signs and speeding, can they also drive around and take a look and see if there's any unusual situations that may occur? I mean, their eyes are more trained than our citizens patrol. And the second thing upon that, are we going to have another meeting with Brady Judd and his detectives that came in to alleviate, once again, our suspicions of what's going on here?
We can coordinate that coffee talk with Grady. That's not a problem. We can go ahead and do that. And our patrols now do go throughout this entire community. Both the sheriff's office as well as the citizens on patrol do go through, and yes, the sheriff's office is obviously more trained, but that is part of, unless we have asked them, based on residents coming in and asking us to position somebody in a specific location because of excessive speeding or running stop signs, those people drive throughout the community as part of their patrol.
Okay, I just want to be sure, because we are paying for 4 hours a day for them.
Yes.
Now, go ahead.
Great.
Just real quick, I know Joe was mumbling over there and he wanted to say this too as well. The current things that are going on are under investigation right now.
Yeah,
I've had some next door posts that have been sent to me saying, why are we not communicating? Well, there's a reason why we're not communicating. So we want to first find out what's going on, and then once the investigators say to us, you can go ahead and communicate, we will communicate. We'll probably have a ballroom talk like you're talking, have the deputies come in or whatever it may be, just educate people. Biggest thing I can say, we've said this before, if somebody wants to get in Solivita, they can get in Solivita. We all know that. So I think being visual as far as what's going on in the community, watching around, watching your neighbors. The block captain program was kind of that start of that in a way, to really kind of help out to bring those communities together, to watch out for your neighbors you know that's gone or in general might be away for a little bit of time. That program is really going to help us out, because as you know, we can have the deputies drive around and do their watch, and they might catch on to some things or assist on patrol, but the biggest thing is your neighbors and being able to watch out for your area that's in your area. Most of the crimes that come within Solivita in the past probably 15, 16 years in Solivita have been from vendors that have come on in that have been granted access to provide stuff for you guys as residents or in general on AD Home's behalf. Most of the time, those are the people that are committing a crime. So I think being more vigilant as far as the community will help out stop some, but not all. As you guys know, there will always be crime no matter what. We need to be more vigilant. I think as a community, we'll be better off.
One thing, Craig,
Yeah.
and, one of the gentlemen mentioned about the roads that are going on to Cypress. Sometimes I use the Westgate when we enter the community. I've seen cars and trucks come out of some of those work roads. I mean, I don't know who's checking it. Somebody could be putting something in there, maybe nothing at all. But I think either a camera or some type of vigilance should be required to take a look at that. Like you just said, some of the problems have been occurred through the vendors that come in. I don't know what's going on, and I'm not trying to tell you to reveal your plans, but I think you should be cognizant
Absolutely.
of that.
Absolutely. And I will say the license plate technology that's coming, we're the first community that's going to have this, guys. Gary's worked his tail off for the last, I'd say, 6 to 8 months. This is going to come in, it's going to help us out, really know who's on property, and then if we want to go the next step, we can put the technology on the exit gates, okay? So that shows you who's on property and when they leave, okay? And then I'll help Joe and the sheriff's department out too. If there's something that goes on, we can narrow that search down, that range down. So this technology will help us out greatly. Also, as a vendor for the guest lane, you were talking about something gets backed up. The license plate technology recognition. So for our vendors that are here, they're coming on Tuesday, and you guys will have the opportunity to put them in the system as they're coming on Tuesday. and they've been here before, we could add them to the system to let them in that gate at that time. It checks them in, so they don't have to use the guest lane. They can use an outer lane and get checked in that way. As soon as they go through, it's checking them in the system. So we know they're on property, okay? And they've been registered before, okay?
One other question on this. I haven't bothered you for about 3 months. One question. The sprinkler system, I was listening to what was said. What I understood, correct me if I'm wrong, we are on the 3 computer systems, you know, for the watering of the lawns in Solivita. Am I correct in saying that, or 4?
4 computers?
Well, there's multiple systems. Yeah.
Multiple.
Yeah.
Would it be advisable maybe to have it under one system so if something goes through?
That's what.
Yeah, that's exactly, and again, the technology has advanced so far from what systems like the Rainbirds that were installed, the MaxiCon systems that were installed. The technology is there right now, but it's so much more sophisticated that again, you can read and control the system from your phones, which the maintenance contractor will be able to do, and it'll be one system, but it'll have multiple. So, as an example, let's say there's a break in line. It'll shut the system down immediately. You'll get a notification on the phone. Those kind of things are what's important.
Okay, so therefore, what you said before is in the planning stage. So
Absolutely.
So the ETA is what? 3 months, 6 months, 1 year?
It's going to take
going.
it's probably.
Will I live to see it?
Yes, it's probably going to take us, to get it all together, it's going to take us probably through 2017 to get it all together with all the different neighborhoods and all the different plans together.
Okay.
Barbara Rizzo, Florida Vista. My question is this, or my suggestion is this. You just said that it's mostly the vendors that come and go. Well, there's no check on when they leave. So a vendor can come in and stay on the property and no one's checking that they leave. You know, in other places that are gated, they make sure they have either a pass that they have to, and if the pass doesn't come back to them, I mean, that's very simple. The way we hand out passes to our guests, then maybe you should be handing out a pass to a vendor. And if you don't receive that pass back, then we know they're hanging out. I mean, that's a simple way. It doesn't cost any more money. You don't have to have an extra person at the gate. But a pass should then be handed back.
That's exactly right. We were looking into a system like that. That's usually what you're going to see with the license plate tag recognition cameras. Let's get this installed first and get it working and get it operational. And then I guarantee you'll see something on the exit gates to be able to check people in and out. So we have that record. Right now, I can take your pass and do the same thing. You know, I can still jump house to house to house to house to house and hand my pass tag and get on property. And we can just say, well, we got this passes. Here's a bunch of passes and turn on the sheriff's department. And they're going to have to rifle through all those and try to make an understanding of it. I know, Joe, it's much easier from a computer system to be able to say, hey, guys, we had a rash of crime outbreaks at this time. Let's look at the vendors that were on property and start breaking it down through there. And like I said, our last case was internal. We had a resident, and that was 2 years ago, I believe, right, Joe?
Actually, several of the last ones have been.
Yeah.
Several last ones have been resident
Yeah,
internal.
right.
So it's been people visiting that have been staying with residents that have been doing those. But the ones that we're thinking right now, we're thinking they might be a little bit of vendors. We might think the joyriding, which you talked about on the golf cart, that's a resident's probably grandchildren or son or somebody that came and decided to pick up golf carts and go drive joyriding within the community on those. So once more information comes out, like I said, we'll get that out. But as far as, like you said, we want to go further and checking people in and out, especially if this potential sale that CDD does go through, to be able to check people in and out as far as if they go to the sales center or if they're going to the membership office or they're going to do service at your house or whatever it may be, we can check them in and also out. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Also, the gate, the Marigold Gate, that is for Solivita, you know, on Bell Tower, going out of the gate. Now, I just left it on Friday, and that one gate is broke. You can't, it doesn't work.
The arm's on order.
What?
The arm is on order.
It's been for weeks now. So does that close at night? I mean,
Yes, the iron gate's closed at night, but the arm is broke, is on back order because unfortunately with this much construction in the U.S. going on, the arms are taking a lot longer than normal. So we ordered some spares in case it breaks. It's not free, but the ugly one up there until it gets in.
Okay, thank
They're on the
you.
way. Just gotta wait for the vendor.
Leo Rogers.
I'd like to talk about that marigold gate. It looks like the arm is broken. Is people hitting it? Because I'd like to mention, and I use that gate quite often, and those lights are very hard to see. And I think if those lights were moving, that would really help. But it's just terrible to see out there at night.
That's why we do the LED lights. Unfortunately, the LED lights for a lot of them are backorder right now. We'll put DOT tape on the gates if Gary says we can. But unfortunately, we have such high volume of traffic in here because it's such a big community. Everybody wants to go to the south gate or everybody wants to go to the main gate that live over here. But most of them push down and hit Bell Tower and go out. Every time that tower ups and down like that, it puts a stress fracture on it and it snapped. Unfortunately, it snapped inconveniently. So we have them on order and they're going to be LED lights as they go out.
You're missing my point. That light are very hard to see.
Oh,
You may be hitting it because you're almost on top of it before you can see it at night. Because you got the
but they're not hitting it. It's the up and down. It hasn't been hit.
Yeah, they're not hitting it, but we'll look into seeing if we, especially once we implement the license plate recognition system, what, as far as the lighting and trying to make it more noticeable, we can look at that. Sure.
I have a question about the golf carts and the golf cart paths, especially on the main roads, Solivita Boulevard, for example. Some of us drive more than 3 miles before we can get out of the community. And it's somewhere between irritating and dangerous to have residents decide that they're going to monitor everybody's traffic speed. So even though there's a golf cart path right next to Solivita, you can see any time of the day, but more scary at night. People deciding to drive on the main road, either at the speed limit sometimes, but very often a few miles below, and start screaming at you when you try to pass, that there's nobody on either side of the road. This is not very clear to me. I don't understand why people think that everybody here is a policeman, and they should issue tickets to anybody and everybody they can think of. There is a golf cart path. Do you guys have any program where you hand out tickets to people who refuse to drive on the golf cart paths? That's the question.
No.
We encourage those with golf carts to use the path, but when you walk in the main gate, one of the first signs you see is a golf cart friendly community. And you just talked about police tickets. And now you want us to give out tickets to people that are driving the golf cart on the road. But a lot of people bought for that sole reason. So I'm going to say that's something where obviously we've sent out emails in the past for people to be courteous. That's what it comes down to, is a matter of courteousness. To be on the path if it suits you. If not, move out of the way of the car. Unfortunately, it's a matter of courtesy. And I don't want to turn this into a police state. I'm not looking for that.
Thank you for that answer. I'm not looking for that either. I'm just trying to point out to people that the speed limit problem goes 2 ways. And if everybody decides to be discourteous to everybody else, this is not going to be a friendly place to live in. So if everybody can look at their own behavior, try to regulate that better, instead of asking everybody on earth to do something else that they want to do, I think we'll be all in a better place.
I appreciate it. I'm going to move on to the Solivita Advisory Committee report. Len Bento, Chairman.
I'm a little concerned that I'm not behind a podium that hides my shorts. It's interesting that so many of the comments that have been made today, the advisory committee has discussed over and over again. And some of them are not easy to solve, but certainly working on them, we do a little bit of time, and that's how we get it taken care of. The report for the Solivita Advisory Committee for 2016 We've accomplished quite a bit. Among them, you will find that there is a Solivita resident handbook that is posted on the solivitahoa.com website. We developed that, we completed it, we posted it, and we've revised it once already. It is good for new residents, but believe me, it's even better for existing residents. Those of you that have been here for 3 years or 10 years, there's a lot of good information in that handbook. You might want to take a few minutes to read that. We also, as a result of the resident survey,